The year is 2022, and Beijing makes Olympic history for being the first country to host both the Summer Games back in 2008 and the Winter Games in 2022. So to celebrate, we were given one of the worst Olympic video games of all time. Even with this being a mobile game, Olympic Games Jam Beijing 2022 was one giant embarrassment. And I say was because towards the end of 2024, sometime after the Paris Olympics, this mobile game was delisted from all app stores. And because the game forced you to be online at all times, if you do have this downloaded, you can't play it anymore. As we learned from the lack of a Mario and Sonic Paris 2024 game, Beijing's 2022 game was the start of the IOC, the International Olympic Committee's decision to become greedy and make more money. The IOC chose not to renew the agreement with Sega after Tokyo 2020, which many of us can agree was a big mistake. Instead, they chose to focus on microtransactions, NFTs, and esports, anything to pull that extra dollar from consumers without the IOC having split costs with other parties. While I think the Winter Games have never been as exciting or adventurous as the summer ones, we at least had decent tie-ins like Vancouver 2010 and Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games. There was even a collaboration in Ubisoft's game Steep. This was a DLC called Road to the Olympics, where players competed to qualify for the 2018 Winter Games. The sole purpose of Olympics Games Jam Beijing 2022 was NFTs. This was a mobile game about earning and selling NFTs on their marketplace. And I can say, as someone who played the game multiple times, this was not a fun game. I know mobile games have a bad reputation. They're grindy, they're predatory, and they just aren't as much fun as they used to be. But they can be good, and Sega proved this when they released Sonic at the Tokyo Olympic Games. Basically, this was Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games without Mario. The game had a story of Eggman trying to take over Tokyo, with Sonic and his friends traveling the city, competing in different sports, and taking down Eggman's allies. It's a cheesy story, but a story nevertheless, and a great way of celebrating Tokyo and its rich history. I only had to pay 99 cents, didn't have to worry about being connected to Wi-Fi, and the minigames were actually enjoyable. It's clear that work, effort, and even passion was put into this. Of course, for a game like that, despite the amount of content and enjoyment, probably doesn't make the kind of money the IOC is looking for. So it's sad that this game was later delisted because it was very good. And I hate seeing any game delisted, but I don't feel that way about Olympic Games Jam Beijing 2022. It's one game I feel we are better off without. And when it comes to that game itself, it's like the developers took inspiration from Sega's Tokyo 2020 game, but forgot to make it fun. Forgot to make people want to come back for more. This was probably one of the most boring games I've played. There's that cartoony style, though maybe not as appealing, and we have different and wacky outfits to dress our character in. Like, I could dress up as a hot dog or the mascot for that year, but they didn't make it easy to unlock any of these outfits, so that customization was extremely limited, but we'll get to that in a bit. And this art style feels like it's more than a simple design to develop for a mobile game. It's like this was a ploy to appeal to the average user, even children, with its simplicity and the popularity of the Olympics, while introducing them to the concept of NFTs. Spark that curiosity, entice them with the prospect of being able to earn real money. This was never a game about the sports. That's how you bring the people in, but the minigames are only its cover story. There's in-game currency called Victory Gems. You earn these by finishing in top positions, but playing more competitive tiers would grant greater rewards, so the easier beginner tier you played on basically didn't give anything. These gems could be used to open boxes to get NFT pins and skins for your avatar, because for some reason there was all this customization for your character, but none of it was easy to unlock. and I never reached the point in the game where I earned any NFTs. But these NFTs were based on Olympic mascots, pictograms, posters, emblems, anything that celebrated Olympic history. And as cool as that is, the whole NFT thing just doesn't sit well. Or you had the option of converting these victory gems into victory gem tokens and using them as cryptocurrency on the Binance Smart Chain. If we take a look at the website archive advertising Olympic Games Jam Beijing 2022, there's a whole diagram on how this system works, and it tries to persuade people into thinking that they can earn real money, either on cryptocurrency exchanges or on the developer's marketplace for NFTs. Set your prices, buy and sell NFTs, and make money. And honestly, this just looks like a giant mess. If you have to educate consumers on a mobile game that should otherwise be simple, then the whole point of a game celebrating the Olympics is pointless. Most people aren't going to go down this route. Sure, the idea of making money easy sounds great, but it's never that easy, nor should it ever be believed. NFTs rarely made anyone rich, and yet here we are in 2025 and NFTs aren't dead, but they are on a major decline. Simply put, NFTs were a trend for a time. Everyone wanted in, but no one profited, and so they're pivoting towards other means. And besides the game being as old as it was, this could be a reason why you can't play the game anymore. It's just one mess after another for a game that is already bland and boring to begin with. Like I said, you had to be connected online. There was no option to play offline, and the game forced you to play online with others. Of course, playing this years later, after its release, no one real was playing, so the game fills in those slots with bots. What's worse is that you didn't even get to pick what events to play in. You click play and it sends you into 3 rounds of random games. Qualifying in each one pushes you onto the next. And the developers tried to copy Fall Guys in doing so, but because the game isn't chaotic like Fall Guys, it just doesn't have the same impact. You could be eliminated and that was that. With a total of about 12 games included, there's the usual variety that we've seen in past games, and I believe I played them all, but that's difficult to say because I would get many that were constantly repeating every time I played, like snowboarding or luge. So something like figure skating or the biathlon was a rarity for me to play. And when that repetition happens with the same games thrown in your face, it just makes for a very dull experience, on top of the basic gameplay and the boring art style. Whereas Sega did right by Sonic at the Tokyo Olympics, this game was the complete opposite. Olympic Games Jam Beijing 2022 may be one of, if not most certainly, the worst Olympic video game. This should not have been made, and it's clear that the IOC doesn't care about what its fanbase wants, and instead only cares about money. And it seems like the developers learned from this game because they went on to make Olympics Go Paris 2024, a mobile game better in every way, but predatory on microtransactions, and it does have some NFTs. So if you enjoyed this, you should check out the video I did on that game. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified about future content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.